So having been involved in 160 plus different transactions from all different angles and directions, one of the things that I've learned is that there are a lot of misconceptions that people have in their mind going into this process. And the reason that I felt it was important to do a webinar that goes through the stages is that it will dispel some of these misconceptions, give people a realistic viewpoint to operate from, and to know what the process is going to look like so that they can move through it and get the best result at the end of the entire process. So when we get into these misconceptions, the first one is that, a lot of folks equate this to selling a house. A lot of people, it's something that many of us have done, at least once, if not a few times in our lives here is, buy and sell a home. So we think about, that's a pretty sizable transaction. There's obviously a legal aspect that goes with that transaction. There's a valuation, that goes along with that transaction. And a lot of folks that haven't been involved in doing the buy or sell of a business kind of fall into this thought of, well, it's just like selling a house. But I'll tell you, it is night and day different than selling a house or buying a house, depending on what side of the fence you're on here. When you talk about houses, a couple things. One, there's a pretty standard valuation process that involves comparables because, look, when you drive down any block in any neighborhood, there's a bunch of houses on that block and the next block and the block over, and it's pretty easy to find things that are comparable. One house that's comparable to another in age and size and condition and property and, all those things. So the valuation based on previous comparable sales is a much easier process. So that's, the first piece of the puzzle. The second piece of the puzzle is that, a house is, it's obviously there's some things with it as far as the condition of it and whatnot. But, overall, there's really not a whole lot that happens after you buy the house. Whatever condition it's in is what it is, and then the sale closes and you move forward. With a business, there's far more moving pieces, and there's a lot more involved in the negotiation, in the pricing, in the terms and conditions, in what can happen afterwards. So it's really, don't fall into this trap of thinking that, oh yeah, this is just like selling a house. I get an attorney and somebody to help me do this, and the transaction will be simple. I wish it was that easy, but it unfortunately really just is not. And again, it's a trap that I've seen some folks fall into. But that's a huge misconception, and we'll get into this a little bit more when I talk about the stages. But there is a tremendous amount that gets negotiated far beyond price. Price is obviously very important, but it's nowhere near the only thing. There's much, much more that has to get handled.